This was not meant as a show of force aimed at China or any other rising power in the region. Instead, the U.S. and the Philippines insist these joint military exercises are only meant to increase cooperation between allies. But while this was going on in the Philippines, the U.S. was involved in a similar exchange with Vietnam. All this while tension with China escalates because of territorial disputes over the Spratly Islands in the South China Sea. Vietnam and the Philippines accuse China of being increasingly aggressive, and like others in the region, both countries are modernizing their military and depending on the U.S. for help.
The U.S. is very much engaged with all the countries in the region. The main thing about the interrelationship of countries is increased confidence.
The U.S. has had military bases in both Japan and South Korea since the end of World War II. Both countries consider the United States invaluable not just to their own national security, but to regional stability. The U.S. presence is seen as containing both a potentially problematic nuclear arms race and China's emergence as a superpower. But as part of its new strategy, the U.S. will be redistributing its forces across the Asia-Pacific, pulling 9,000 troops from Okinawa and scattering them everywhere from Guam and the other Micronesian islands to Singapore, Australia, and the Philippines.
The Asia-Pacific governments allied with the U.S. find reassurance in its enhanced and more focused presence in the region, but it's an unwelcome one as far as many people are concerned. They find the U.S. military presence intrusive and destabilizing and accuse the superpower of using its allies' weaknesses to pursue its own interests.
But China has increased its military spending and recently held its own military exercises with Russia. It's pictures like these that concern neighboring governments, and they hope to convince people that the U.S. military is necessary to maintain the peace that allows for the region's economic growth. In Manila, protesters gather in front of the Chinese embassy, angry at a recent maritime standoff between Philippine and Chinese ships. They say they're tired of what they call the arrogance and the aggression of larger militarized states. As the region's governments struggle to maintain the balance of power, it is no longer just the U.S. military that is unwelcome. Margo Ortigas, Al Jazeera, Manila.